Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Shining Song Starnova with me, Phantom Zwei. When we last left off, Mika had some qualms with her role as the lead of her, the live-action production of her ideal anime, of which I can't remember the name of right now, because it's been a while. It's been months since last time I recorded, to pull the curtain back a little bit. But hey, we're hopping back into it. Okada-sensei has a story to tell us, probably about something to do with the business. Let's see what he's got to say. It was 20 years ago when Sato-san was about your age. Ah, and I also had a head full of hair on me at that time as well. It was his big directorial debut at the helm of the television series, Lady no Hime of the Viper. It had always been Sato-san's dream to create a historical fiction drama, so this job was like a dream come true for him. Back then, he was a passionate man who sought to leave his mark on the annals of history by creating the world's next masterpiece. But I suppose every young man enters this industry with big hopes and dreams, or big dreams and full of hope. The girl cast as Lady no Hime was actually one of Shining Productions' biggest talents at the time, so this television show was also a must-win for me as well. If I recall correctly, she might have had quite a resemblance to Mika-chan here, both in body and mind. She was a great big romantic who adored the glamour and beauty of historical fiction. But of course, it's not as if the television studio executives were willing to give a newbie director much of a budget to fulfill his aspirations. You know these shows are always a risky investment for companies, and the higher-ups didn't really have much faith in Sato-san, so they weren't willing to invest much in him. But he did try his best to create a samurai epic. He worked around the clock, 7 days a week, to make his creation a success. He handled the entire post-production by himself, for no pay in order to put all the money he had into cast and crew. He even choreographed stunts, wrote the entire script, and even helped out with the set design, all for the sake of his dream. You see, Sato-san really gave his entire life for the sake of his Lady no Hime. He may have been exhausted, angry, hopeful, and desperate, all at the same time. But in the end, it really was impossible to create a samurai epic on such a shoestring budget. He had become so enamored with the beautiful vision that he sought to give tangible form that he failed to grasp the reality of the situation. His staff was exhausted from overwork. His cast members were all inexperienced and unknown. And then, Amaterasu Television released another star-studded, massively budgeted historical epic, the same season that Lady no Hime aired. There was no way Sato-san's small passion project could compete in comparison to that. In the end, Lady no Hime of the Viper was derided by the masses and quickly forgotten. You would think Sato-san would have quit being a director after that, but you know what he said to me? That was shit. Seriously, a steaming pile of shit. But next time, I'm gonna make something totally incredible. I didn't really know much about this how this stuff worked this time around, but thanks to Lady no Hime, I managed to figure a bunch of things out. Just you wait, Okada-san. The next one of your talents ends up in my work, she's gonna become a star. They'll sing songs about her for ages. I swear it. So that's the story of how I worked with Sato-san on the ill-fated Lady no Hime of the Viper. Even though the project turned out pretty poorly for all parties involved, I now remember it fondly as a colorful time filled with excitement. Mika wiped tears of inspiration from her eyes. Sato-san was the one hurting most all this time. I've totally changed my opinion of him. I think she's easily swayed. So this was the story of what happened the last time Shining Productions worked with Sato-san. I had no idea. I'm sure Sato-san never forgot about what happened with Lady no Hime, and what he promised to me in its aftermath. Even though the situation is no better today than it was 20 years ago, I still believe there lies a spark in him that has laid dormant all this time. To this day, despite everything he says, he still wants to create that masterpiece of the ages. You need only rekindle that small spark deep in his heart. Oh, I see. A hidden promise, long forgotten, a second chance for a miraculous comeback. I'm already seeing the ending of this story. I doubt it'll be that idyllic, but you know. Well, I do believe Starnova is always intended to be a comeback story, wasn't it? Well, intentional or otherwise, the people really do like comeback stories. Producer-san, let's go to Sato-san and remind him of his promise to our president. He must certainly still remember it to this day. Surely he wants Black Opera, the live action, to be a success more than any of us. If we can bring Sato-san on board, then maybe we can save the project. And overwork all of us. Yeah. Alright, I understand. After all, Sato-san made a promise to Okada-sensei, didn't he? He was going to make the next talent from Shining Productions into a star. At this rate, we might not even be able to finish production on the live action before the cast and crew walk off set. We've got to turn this battle around. Who cares about the production committee and the execs? If enough people on the ground combine their efforts, we might be able to turn this situation into a huge success story. Oh! Alright, I'm with you on this. Sylvia Night Song. For the Black Song! Did everyone include Okada-sensei as well? I'd like to think so. The next day, we spoke to Sato-san together. Sincerely, I'm begging you, Sato-san. Please make your promise to Okada-san a reality. Please turn Mika-chan into a star. You guys.
それ何年も前の話だろあのタヌキ親父同僚になんて恥ずかしい過去話を暴露してくれるんだよすみません佐藤さん今度は何
Suddenly we have voice acting.
ムーンショットプロダクションを代表して
The other manager also bowed his head beside Mika and I.
その要望に賛成します新しい方針は考えていかないとこのままでは制作中止になってしまいますカイル君君も頭を下げなさいああお願いしますもうあんなことを橋本さんに向かって言いたくありません
I forgot that he ended up actually being a good guy.
演技とはいえ自分がやったことが悪夢になってしまって夜もろくに寝られませんどうかお願いします普通のテレビドラマのように作れないでしょうかこっちだって事情があるんだよ
But by now, the rest of the cast and crew had gathered around us as well.
俺ブラックオペラのファンだったからさ原作に忠実な作品にしたいな
監督たまには価値があるようなものも作ってみませんか
For a change. Ouch.
こっちが制作を変更してもお偉いさんたちは気づいてくれないでしょうから
そういうことは考えていても口に出しちゃ身のためにならんぞ
Please, for the sake of artists everywhere, make Black Opera into a success. Sato put a cigarette in his mouth and wandered over to the set, where the tentacle contraption was still rigged up for the day's shoot.
ファンサービス満載のシリーズにしてくれってさマジ売れるからって俺の答えは決まったぜ
He grabbed a fold-up chair and smashed it against the tentacle contraption. Eh?
なの知るか
Metallic banging echoed through the set as Sato repeatedly smashed the chair against the steel frame holding up the rubber tentacles, until finally, the unfortunate thing was reduced to a pile of broken pieces on the floor. Sato continued to lash out his pent-up frustration on the writhing tentacles on the floor, stomping them until they were thoroughly stamped with the imprint of his shoe soles. After satisfactorily taking out his anger on the fake tentacles, he turned to face us with a new fire burning in his eyes.
君たち誰かに聞かれたら今朝現場に着いたら触手のあれが倒れて粉々になってたって言えわかるな
Oh!
はい放送まで2ヶ月しか残ってないじゃねえか取り直さないといけないシーンはクソほどあんのによ成功させたきゃ家に帰れると思うな俺をこんな風に燃えさせておいて言い訳なんか聞かねえからなはいよし仕事だ
After that, the cast and crew of Black Opera, the live action, worked day and night to make the project a success. The script was being rewritten on the very set, moments before the shoots. Luckily, it turned out numerous staff members were already huge fans of black opera, and already had a strong understanding of the original story. The budding idol cast as the main heroine of the series was no exception, of course. For this scene, Night Song would say something more like, nothing, instead of going into an exposition into her motives. In Kurosawa-sensei's works, what remains unsaid is as important as what was spoken. Night Song's primary appeal is her mystery, after all. It's her innate quiet solitude which makes people wonder just what the tragedy must have befallen her to cause her to get a scarlet mask. She may be the heroine, but you don't really know much about her until the later chapters. I see. The silent, sad heroine, huh? That certainly does make sense. But pardon me. Oh, good to see you back to normal, Kyle-kun. What's up? Please don't let my fans know, but I'm quite a big fan of black opera as well. Many people characterize Lightwind as an embodying the pent-up anger many men feel against women, but I don't think Kurosawa-sensei intended such a character at all. Despite it first being introduced as a vain and egotistical man at first, you later find out he genuinely regrets ever getting his scarlet mark. In fact, his folly is that by pledging his life to the Akane Oni to gain the power to seduce any woman, he could never ever be loved again. It's only when he meets Night Song that he realizes there existed a woman who cared for him all along. Thus, I don't think he would ever do such villainous things like trying to rape her with tentacles or anything. I see. So, a story of redemption for a man who was lonely from the very beginning. I'm starting to see why so many young people like this work. It certainly sounds like the kind of thing I'd enjoy making. It's been a while since I felt like this. Alright, let's do this. Let's do it already. Let's make this thing the way it was supposed to be. Oh! Alright. I walked home with Mika after another night of shooting. Once again, she was back to her chipper mood and skipping alongside me while humming to herself. Hey, producer-san. It looks like the show's finally going to come together. It's a lot of work, but honestly, I think I like the show better this way, don't you think? I mean, clearly, right? They're actually listening to feedback now. After all, Kurosawa-sensei worked day and night to make black opera into what it is today. We can't stain the world of black opera with a mediocre release, after all. It really is like a dream. Mika? To tell the truth, I was in a really bad place once. A bunch of people were picking on me in high school, and I didn't have anyone to back me up. A lot of bad things happened before I ended up a shut-in, and I thought about giving up a lot of times. But black opera kept me going, because my worries seem small in comparison to Night Song's struggles, don't they? In the end, Night Song's a tragic heroine who never belonged anywhere. She was abandoned by her people because she was born differently from everyone else. She had to wander by herself for so long, until her emotions disappeared. Somehow I felt my own struggles reflected in her story. Even though it was just a story, I eventually convinced myself it was true, because even if the events in the manga never happened, I still believed in the message. I'm really glad I got to be Night Song in this production. It's almost like destiny, isn't it? And I'd say, I can't let everyone down. After all that black opera has done for me, I have to carry this project to the finish line. Yeah. Funnily enough, a long time ago, I was really into manga and anime too. But I guess like Lightwind, I eventually reached the age where I wanted to be noticed by the opposite sex. I realized that being an otaku wasn't considered hot, and was forced to hide my interests in such things. I guess black opera really is relatable to so many young people. In the end, I gave up a part of who I was just to be able to fit into society. Still, a part of me always loved that subculture, so I always ended up returning to it as an idol producer in the end. Or not always, but I ended up returning to it. Yeah. I think that's what makes working in this industry different from being a salaryman. You can't just survive on money alone. You gotta believe in what you're making. As expected of producer-san. But we're not going anywhere near we're not anywhere near the finish line yet. I can't read today. We've still got weeks of shooting left, not to mention a PR event for the show coming up soon. Indeed, my schedule's gotten rather hectic lately, but I shall hold strong, for the sake of the Black Song. Yeah, hang in there, Mika. Oh! Oh, the cheese. I admit I love it. As the air date of the live-action's grand premiere approached, we held another handshake event at Akihabara to hype up fans. So far, so good. The tickets had sold out in merely 2 days. Buyoing... I can never... I always get confused when I say that word. Buyoing... I don't even feel like I'm saying it right now. Of my hopes that the show was going to be a hit. Mika smiled and laughed along with her fans as the event continued, now the very image of a professional idol. Beside her, Kyle handled an equally long line of female fans. A heavy-set man approached Mika and shook her hand over-enthusiastically. Hashimoto Mika-sama! It's my honor to meet you! My name is Ogawa Kyosuke! I've been a fan of Black Opera forever! I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the show! Indeed, I've been a fan ever since the manga began serializing as well. It looked like the handshake event was proceeding without any problems. But I couldn't let down my guard yet. Recently, there had been a spat of incidents happening at handshake events. While these special events had mushroomed in popularity and driven an unprecedented amount of money for the music industry, they were beginning to attract negative attention as well. Of course, much of the negativity was blown out of proportion. The media always depicted otaku in a bad light, so whenever a small incident occurred, the papers always blamed the industry as a whole. It was always just a few bad apples giving the rest of us a bad name. Oh boy, okay, I can see where this is going. I continued my patrols, keeping a vigilant eye out for anyone who might stir up trouble. Another gentleman with long hair shook hands with Mika. Gee, funny how you're the same guys who have been, Starnova's fans since the beginning. Mika-chan! Oh wait, I can't give him the same voice. Mika-chan, I'm a big fan of Black Opera. Best of luck to you for your big television debut. Thank you very much. As a longtime fan of Sylvia Nightsong, I shall do my best to bring her to life on the television screen as well. In your mini-blog, you said in episode 32, when she gains the power of music is your favorite episode, didn't it? Is it true that Nightsong joining an idol unit influenced your decision to become an idol as well? It's thanks to Nightsong that I stand before you right now. To think Black Opera had such an important influence, Mika-chan, do your very best. I won't give up. Uh-oh. Here we go. Unexpectedly, I saw a shadow cross the very edge of my vision. Okay. I spun around and saw a suspicious individual whose face was obscured by a black raised hoodie. He didn't seem like he was in line. Could he have come here to raise trouble? I approached him and spoke in the most authoritative voice I could muster. Pardon me, but can I confirm your ticket for this event? Ticket? This is a ticketed event, sir. If you don't have one, I'm afraid I'm going to ask you to leave the event floor. Whatever, I'm leaving. With that, he ran out, pushing a bunch of guys in line in front of him out of the way. Get out of my way. Oi! Who was he? Just a random guy trying to sneak in? Some people just really had no sense of decency. Having kicked the trespasser out, my job here was finished. I resumed my patrol, keeping my eyes out for any more troublemakers. The rest of the event passed without any further problems. We left the event space and went outside for our ride back to the office. It's gotten pretty cold. I looked up to the winter sky. You got that right. The end of the year is here. So much has happened. People really do count time as a measure for all things they've experienced, eh? I feel like I've been producing Starnova for a decade now. In reality, it's been less than a year. I was a totally different person around this time last year. It's really amazing how much I've changed. I guess I have producer-san to thank for that. I was just a chuny shut-in, and yet you let me into your idol group, and even made me the center. Nobody's ever believed in me before. Even my own parents figured I would be a human failure for the rest of my life. And to tell the truth, I didn't believe in myself either. Everything I ever did seemed to go wrong somehow. No matter what it was, I felt like I always managed to fumble and let my chances slip through my fingers. I stopped believing in myself entirely, and I just hid in my apartment, too scared to do anything. But you know, it's times like that when anime saved me. Otherwise, I would have never tried to re-enter society again. You could say, in the end, my desire to become Night Song was too strong to resist for too long. Oh, Mika, you really have grown a lot this past year, haven't you? I feel like I've learned more in my year of being an idol than I have the whole rest of my life. All you had to do was find something you were passionate about. I know a lot of people who don't do well in school, and then they find a job they really love, and suddenly they become amazing. As your producer, I'm glad that you're happy. Ha ha ha! That's a strange way of typing it, but sure. Mika lowered her head and closed her eyes in expectation. Not here, Mika. Too many people would see. Producer-san's a meanie. It's for your own good. Oh, it'd be really bad if rumors began to spread that you were in love with your producer. That's exactly the sort of story that tabloids would go berserk over. I don't even want to imagine the amount of trouble it would raise. ... Just then, the cab arrived to take us back home. You just know that weird guy from the event is going to show up soon and cause some kind of trouble. Here it is. Let's get in before you catch a cold. Mika absent-mindedly looked out the window as we rode the cab back to Mika's apartment. Hey, producer-san. Yeah? Do you think Mika has appeal? Huh? What are you asking? Of course I do. Truckloads of appeal. All of your fans love you, and you're the center of Starnova. In fact, I don't even know why you'd be asking me this right now. It's the first time I've ever felt like I have appeal, too. Maybe I'm just a spoiled idol now, but lately I feel like I've gotten just a little bit prettier. Of course, Mika. Well, you were plenty pretty to begin with, so there's no need for you to doubt yourself. It makes me happy to hear Producer-san say that. I'm still weirded out when they do the third-person thing. Anyway, while it's true that a producer could end up spoiling his talents with too much praise, I felt like Mika was in need of more affirmation compared to the other girls. After all, she wasn't cut from the usual idol stock. Usually girls signed up to be idols with some pre-existing confidence about their looks and abilities. However, for Mika, I felt like she became an idol seeking to change herself. Do you think you're where you wanted to be when you decided to become an idol? I hope I've met your expectations as a producer. To tell the truth, I never expected any of this. Becoming popular, being selected as center, being cast as Night Song? I don't know I don't know what I wanted when I decided to become an idol. I think I would have been plenty satisfied with just dancing in the back before a small audience of supporters. Besides, I don't think my expectations of Producer-san is really like that. What am I saying? Mika? Is something the matter? Mika wants... Just then, the cab came to a stop. Of course. Looks like we're here. You worked hard today. Here, you've earned this. I reached over and gave Mika a good rub on top of the head. However, Mika didn't seem satisfied by it anymore. Did you graduate from Paufu Pafu's now too? That's not it. That's not it at all, Producer-san. Anyways, it's gotten really late now. I'd better be getting home myself. Have a good night, Mika. With that, I shooed Mika out of the cab. Hey, producer. See you. Oh, shut her down. Oh. Good night, Producer-san. With that, I closed the door of the cab shut. Mika waved and turned around for her apartment as I was driven away. That was close. I never knew how dangerous the big round eyes of a maiden were. I felt my heart... Man, I'm all tongue-tied today. I felt my heart rate accelerate like I was climbing up a huge roller coaster. So did this mean that Mika had a crush on me, her producer? Well, I guess something like that was a man's romance, alright. But I also knew that it was a relationship I couldn't enter into. After all, she was an idol, and I was her producer. Mika had a shining career ahead of her, giving hope to millions of lonely guys out there in this universe. As her producer, I had no right to take that dream away, and force her to give up becoming a star idol, all for my sake. Anyways, we were all grown-ups now. I wasn't a stupid teenager with big romantic dreams of finding true love or something anymore. Now I was old enough to understand that these things didn't always work out. Mika had to focus on her path to success, and I had to focus on mine. These two roads were parallel to each other, but they could never intersect. For that was the great rule for a budding idol and her producer. Besides, I'd quit Golden Calf because I hated working alongside shady producers who preyed on the naivete of young girls who thought they were pretty and in love. Guys like that just used girls like tissue paper and tossed them away once they were done with them. I could never treat Mika like that. But really... I folded my arms behind my head and closed my eyes. It would have been nice if we'd met in some other place and time. Alas. December. Alright. The girls had gathered for an increasingly rare joint practice session. With Mika constantly away for television shoots and the other girls handling jobs of their own, they'd been seeing each other less often. After practice, Mika sighed and walked off by herself. The girls craned their necks and watched as Mika left the dance studio and squatted down on the stairway. From there, she stared outside blankly with her face resting on her hands, looking quite sad, but not quite sad, but not quite happy either. The girls retreated back into the dance studio and spoke in hushed tones while huddled around each other. What's wrong with Mika? Could it be that she's having trouble with her job? Maybe it's just indigestion. It's obviously not that. It's obviously love. Keep your voices down. What if she hears us? But Chuni-chan? In love? I should have known something like that would have happened. Sorry, just one sec. Okay, just had to check the timer on the recording. It's obvious from that look on her face. A young maiden's first love, huh? What's that little brat doing, making that face for? Making me feel old. But who? Could it be? There's only one guy could be, right? The forbidden love between an idol and her producer, huh? They sure do catch on quick. It really seems like something out of a fairy tale. So you mean... P-kun? No way. Oh god, I forgot about Nimue. Run! Run for the hills, Mika. I almost called her Nimue. No matter how you look at this, Chuni-chan's just setting herself up for disappointment, you know? A workaholic like Producer-san hooking up with one of his idols? There's no way something like that would ever happen. Except for in every route in the game. After all, Mika's our center, right? And she's got a bright future ahead of her. Our producer's not the kind of guy who would give her something that... who would let her give something that important up just so he can score with one of his idols. I suppose Mariah's right. Our producer's an upstanding guy, right? I don't think he'd take advantage of Mika's feelings. We should support Mika-chan's feelings. It's a little surprising, but she's our friend. Oi, don't look at me. It's not like I care about who ends up with that guy. Mika can date him for all I care. Or not. Huh. Indeed, it simply cannot be helped. Love truly comes in the most unexpected places. No matter what happens, we must all focus on becoming idols, no? Nimu's got it right. Besides, this is Mika-yan we're talking about. We gotta support her in this. I'm telling you, a relationship like this is just not in the cards here. One-sama's got a point. This is probably Chuni-chan's first love, right? People make a huge deal about first love and all that, but in reality, it's not like the vast majority of people find their one the first time they fall in love. Most of the time, first love ends up just a bittersweet story of big naive expectations and unfulfilled emotions. It's how a lot of girls grow into women. Our drill sergeant Loli sure can be unexpectedly mature from time to time. Well, I'm not claiming to particularly have experience myself with this kind of stuff. Just repeating what I've heard the grown-ups saying. If you say so.
聞いてください。
Anyways, this is no doubt a sensitive time for Mika-chan. Let's all support her love from the shadows and give her a big group hug if she ends up heartbroken.
やったー
Natan will prepare the chocolate cake, or where'd I get cake from? The chocolate and ice cream buckets. Maybe I can give her some of my toys if things don't work out. Oh my god, Julie.
ふざけんなよ。
Of course we're not doing that, you dumbass.
そうやね。
As expected of the top bitch in Starnova, eh?
何よ。
Yeah, whatever. I was just joking. Come on, I gotta lighten the mood here somehow. Oh my. Mika sat on a fold-up chair wearing the exact same expression as the staff readied on the set. Should I tell producer-san about my feelings? No way. There's no way I could ever do something that crazy. My heart wouldn't be able to take the pressure. But does that mean these feelings are gonna stay pent up in my chest forever? I don't want that either. Neither option's appealing at all. I don't know what to do. Suddenly she heard a crusty old man's voice beside her.
Huh.
What's the matter, little missy? Something weighing on your mind? Mika nearly fell backwards out of her chair in shock. Oops, my bad. Didn't mean to surprise you there.
あの、
Mr. Director. You don't need to call me that, you know. I'd hate to be like your poor producer and end up losing his name to a job title. Then Sato-san. That doesn't quite feel right either. Then why don't you call me Sato-kun? No. Should have figured. Sato the old man. Oof. Eh? What was that? That's what I'm gonna call you from now on. I thought it was the most fitting. Boy, give me a break here. No, I've decided. There's no helping you. So, are you gonna tell this old man what's on your mind? It concerns a private matter. You remind me a bit of someone. She used to be a talent at Shining too. Let me guess, it was Okada-sensei's original talent, which he said looked like Mika-chan, and you know, what was it, like body and spirit or something? Had her for my first big job, you know. Lady Nohime of the Viper. Oh, so you know of it.
ふむふむ。
I've never heard of it before, but President Okada told me. You sure know how to break an old man's heart. Well, my Nohime was a real character, you see. She was the only person on the set who was as passionate about the project as I was. Heck, she might have been more gung-ho about it than I was. She'd always dreamed of being a princess in a historical epic, you see. She'd be all in everyone's business, meddling in things unrelated to her job, trying to get the show as perfect as possible. At the time, we thought we were all working on this to make it a make it or break it masterpiece. Didn't turn out like that. I cannot talk. Didn't turn out like how we expected, though. It was a big failure.
Huh.
You could say that. In the end, I let her down. I let everyone down.
そういうもんだよ。
But that's just how things turn out sometimes, though. What's the point of telling me this? Just felt like chatting to you for a bit, that's all. Oh, it's not every day I get an idol on set, you know? Throw this old man a break here. Anyways, things will be different this time. I ain't gonna let you down, I swear. What are you doing, throwing around big promises like that, old man Sato? Sorry. Looks like we're ready to get the film rolling again. Anyways, lighten up, Night Song. The picture's not gonna look as good with your lovesick face plaster all over the film. Eh? What, you thought I didn't know? Sato the old man.
の、
So, what happened between you and this Lady Nohime? That? An Ended up marrying her. Have 2 kids now. And let's get moving. This show's not gonna make itself, you know. Okay. I finished up my phone call and returned to the set while everyone was in the middle of filming. Mika stood facing Kyle on top of an elaborate rocky set made from paper mache. Kyle delivered Light Winds lines with grandiose bluster.
またもこの俺を邪魔すると。なぜここまでついてきた？
カールズ・ライト・ウィンド。ここはあなたの無境なのね。これはそこから感じる
それ以上近づくな。それは
悲しみ、深い悲しみ。あなたは
分かったような口を聞くな。従え。
Lightwind raised his hand. Fans turned on off screen, rustling Mika's wig.
カールズ・ライト・ウィンド。あなたは失敗した。
いや、従え。命令に従うんだ。
それはあなたの本当の望みなの。鏡に囲まれて。なるほど。あなたは認められたいけど、与えられたのは愛情ではなく、自分の声の響きだけだった。うぬぼれた心が周りから自分の声を聞きたがっている。でもあなたはそういう人じゃない。
黙れ。お前には。
Suddenly, Kyle appeared to lose his footing on the rocks. Oh no. Before anyone could react, the paper-mache rocks below him gave out, and he tumbled halfway into the elevated set. Staff members rushed onto the set to free Kyle from the collapsed stage. 2 men managed to grab hold of him by the arms and dig him out.
おい、大丈夫か？足動かせるか？くそ！救急車呼べ！早く病院連れてけ！
わかりました。
I rushed to Mika's side as well and held her by the shoulders.
そんなにひどく、足をくじいたみたいです。
Meanwhile, Kyle's manager was sweating bullets while tearing his own hair out.
これはまずい。カイル君、立てるか？歩けそう？
The staff helped Kyle up, but he could barely take a step before staggering back down.
くそ、すみません、マネージャーさん。でも、
なんてことを。
みんな、カイルを外に運べ。もうすぐ救急車が来るから。はい。
The staff waited in the hallway as Sato and the Moonshot Productions manager spoke with the doctor. After receiving the prognosis, the 2 of them returned to us. Luckily, the injury is not too serious. Calicoon's ankle should be fully healed within about 7 to 10 days of bed rest. Luckily, he's still young and healthy, so it doesn't look like he'll have any problems making a full recovery if he stays in the hospital. But that's a big problem for us, isn't it? We still have 5 more days of shooting left before we begin post-production, and with the schedule this tight, we gotta finish the rest of the shoots in the next 5 days, or else the show will be cancelled. Eh? No way! I'm sorry, everyone. So we have to shoot the rest of the scenes without Carl's Lightwind? That's impossible! His role is pivotal! Without Lightwind, there would be no Black Opera. Is there a way, Sato-san? Alright, everyone, calm down. Stuff like this happens sometimes in productions. So is there a way? I don't really know either. But let's all calm down and think. Anyways, let's get back to the studio and put our heads together. We're just causing a scene here. Okay. Let me guess, producer is going to end up stepping into his role. For whatever reason. We returned to the set, but the gravity of the situation remained. Thanks to unforeseen circumstances, we had just lost the show's male lead. It was obvious to everyone that without both Night Song and Lightwind, a complete telling of Black Opera was simply not in the cards. And due to us already having spent so much time reworking our initial work, there was absolutely no way we could delay production any further by waiting for Kyle to recover. In other words, this was checkmate. Shit. But everyone had worked so hard to make Black Opera a success. To think everything would fall apart at the last moment because of an accident like this. Mika's body was twitching uncontrollably with nervousness, and she looked on the verge of passing out. What do we do? What do we do? What would Night Song do? Mika. Sato-san, could we possibly get a replacement for Kyle-kun? We could get a stand-in and then record Kyle-kun's voice in post-production, and dub it in. Sure, but it'd have to be someone who's a dead ringer for Kyle-kun. Not only that, but someone who's available right this moment, with experience in acting. But we do have someone like that here. Eh? Who? Producer-san! I looked around in confusion. What, Mika? Don't hold me in, Or what, Mika? Don't hold me in suspense. Who's this mystery talent? Producer-san. Producer-san himself. I pointed at myself in disbelief. What? Me? Didn't Producer-san say he worked once as an entertainer? Oi, Mika. That was seriously years ago. I was nearly a decade younger than I am now. Besides, I appreciate your vote of confidence, but there's no way you can pass off my face as a high schooler like Kyle-kun. There is a way. Lightwind's mask. You just need to keep it on for your scenes. Nobody will notice with half of your face obscured, and once we record all the footage, we can have Kyle-kun dub in his voice in post-production. Oi. Alright, it's our best shot. We're gonna have to do it. You've gotta be kidding me. It's seriously been 7 years since I quit being an entertainer, Sato-san. I'm just a producer now. No, you're not. As of this moment, you're Carl's Lightwind. Besides, it seems like you've got good chemistry with our female lead. Give it your best shot. What the hell? It's not like we had any choice at this stage. It was either do or die. I gulped and nodded my head. Alright, if this is what's necessary to make everyone's dreams a reality, I'll give it my all as well. Alright everyone, looks like we found our Carl's Lightwind. Costume, makeup, get to work right away. We don't have a moment to lose. Sir! With that, I was rushed into the changing room. This was seriously nuts. Alright. And that seems like a good place to end off today's episode. So, as always, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.